Everyone's getting a bit bored of Canelo. Okay, that may be a bit harsh, not everyone, but something is different about this man lately, and he's been on the receiving end of a lot of scrutiny. I mean, even the double excellent turkey's having a pop at him. You know you've done something wrong when this man's digging you out, blimey. So what is going on, and is the criticism justified? Well, I'm not going to beat around the hairy bush. We all want to see the Benavidez fight, but we ain't getting it, are we? The ship seems to have sailed now, and it's all a bit confusing, really, because a few years prior, we all saw this man as a trailblazer. Chasing greatness, taking on all comers, happy to push boundaries. I mean, if we go back to 2018, the Triple G fights were absolutely dynamite, weren't they? I'm double sure he lost that first one though, I've got to say. However, luckily for him, Adelaide Bird must have been a bit fucking boss-eyed that night, and he probably thought himself he was going to lose that fight when he hit him bang on the chops with this absolute beauty, and Triple G went, nah, no problem that, bruv, that did fuck all. Anyway, okay, he escaped with a draw, but then he took on the rematch and got the win. It was tight, but a solid performance. And then he really was on the warpath in his quest for greatness. He nicked a belt off of Rocky Fielding, then Danny Jacobs. He went up to light heavy, knocked out Kovalev, beat up Callum Smith, had a little mandatory with Yildirim, then dismantled Billy Joe and Caleb Plant. Then by the end of this, he had belts coming out of his bumhole. Okay, some people may even criticise the opponents during this phase, but generally you couldn't fault it too much, because at the end of this run, he was cemented as the biggest draw in the world and the most decorated boxer on the planet. However, then he come up against Dmitry Bivol. Now, don't forget, just before the Bivol fight, Canelo was even talking about going up to heavyweight to fight Alexander Usyk. We all said, bloody hell, that's a bit of a stretch, bruv, but we didn't really doubt it, because the man never seemed to shy away from anything. He was so far removed from the talk of him ducking people or avoiding fights that we could only assume it was actually a possibility, but then he lost. To be honest, he got a little bit of a fucking walloping by Bivol. Luckily, old Bivvy ain't a massive puncher, otherwise it could have been a lot worse. However, no shame there, the Bivmeister is a king of the light heavyweight division, and it's not Canelo's natural weight, so it certainly weren't no disgrace. Fair play to him for another attempt at greatness. But then things went a little bit fucking flat, to be honest. Yeah, we all assumed he'd snap up the Bivol rematch, and there's no reason whatsoever that Bivol wouldn't be keen. It was the biggest money fight out there for him, and he'd just beaten the man, so why would he have any issues? But instead, it kind of fizzled out into a boring old back and forth fucking load of twaddle. I want this, he's not getting that, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, Bivol wanted to move down to super middle to fight Canelo for the undisputed and to prevent the Mexican star, blaming his defeat on the weight. However, Canelo apparently insisted it needed to once again be at 175. Then Bivol's manager said Canelo asked for exactly the same terms as the first fight, which is a ridiculous thing to ask for when you actually lost the first fight. Then he had some sort of wrist injury he needed to get sorted, okay, and yes, in the end it all took a great big shit. Now, I don't know who was in the right in this situation, but I'll bring it back to this quote from old Carlos Frocos.
If somebody really wants to fight, as a professional boxer, if you want to box and you want the fight to happen, the fight will happen, regardless of who's promoting you, regardless of which TV network's involved. The fight will happen if the fighter says, yeah, I want to fight him. And the other fighter says, yeah, I'll agree, I'll fight him. And the fight will happen.
Yes, well said, Marv. If you want it, you will get it. And as I say, I just can't see as Bivol wouldn't want the biggest payday of his career against someone he's already comfortably beat, regardless of whichever weight he had to agree on. Anyway, then old Alvarez moved on to the Golovkin trilogy, and okay, we were interested because the other two were blinding, but there was no doubt about it. Triple G was sliding. He didn't look like the same man anymore, so it was no surprise seeing Canelo duff him up conclusively this time. Then he had the John Ryder fight, and I bloody love John Ryder. Good on him getting a crack, but Canelo received a bit of stick for this as well. No offence to Ryder, but on paper Canelo was always leagues above him, and during this time the question on everyone's lips was, why not Bivol again? Why not David Benavidez? What is going on? And this noise was about to get much louder when he then decided to fight Charlo. Fucking hell, what an anticlimax that was. Oh, and as if we weren't pissed off enough with that fight, then Charlo came in and ran away all night. He looked like he was doing the fucking DVD sign for 12 rounds to Wally. Now, alright, the belts were on the line, okay, fine, whatever, but Charlo is a natural super welter who was never, and I mean never in a billion years, going to beat Canelo even on his best night. So based on this fight, is it any wonder that Canelo began to pick up a label of choosing easy fights? I mean, is that fair? You be the judge, but with a washed up Golovkin, a game but lower level Ryder, and a small underwhelming Charlo, you gotta say it's not that surprising. But then okay, I won't dig him out for the Munguia fight. It was very winnable, granted, and David was snubbed again, but Munguia's on the top of his game and Canelo looked mustard that night, so okay, we can give that one a pass. But now here we are with old Berlanga, so yeah, wonder who wins that fight. That's a fucking mystery, innit? Anyway, so amongst all this, of course, all we really wanted was the David Benavidez fight. It seemed to be on a plate multiple times, but for whatever reason, the fight hasn't even looked like gathering pace and nobody can work it out. I mean, is it because he says he'd never fight another Mexican fighter? Well, clearly no, because Munguia is Mexican as well. Then he says Benavidez has done nothing, fought nobody, but he beat Plant and Andrade, which arguably are better wins than Munguia, Ryder and Charlo's previous opponents of late. Then he went and signed with PBC for the Charlo fight, who Benavidez is signed to as well, but allegedly he wouldn't sign a free fight deal with Benavidez in the contract. So if that's true, why? In the end, you can't help but jump to the same conclusions as everyone else.
The idea has now been circulated and by many fans adopted that he's ducking Benavidez and Morrell.
And you the guy, you the cash cow, you the face of boxing, and you don't answer that call? Bro, that says something about you, man.
Yeah, that's just another way to say I don't want to fight him. That's the bottom line. That's basically it.
But my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez.
Now, okay, don't get me wrong, some may put the blame on Benavidez himself for his part in all this, because he did move up to light heavy back in March to fight Vosdik, but you know, maybe that was because he'd had enough of waiting around for this man, or maybe he moved up as well because Maurizio Salami, who I'm always full of fucking praise for on this channel, never once called David, even though he's been WBC interim champion since May 2022. And why would he not call that mandatory? Well, I suppose, why risk someone beating your golden goose who provides you the most lucrative 3%? You'd have to be fucking mental, wouldn't you?
I've been number one contender for the past 3 years. I've been there, beat the guys who told me that they told me I had to beat them, and now that I see another opportunity to go up to get another title, now I lost my opportunity. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense how they are saying that they're gonna give me 10 days to make my decision on what I want to do. Bro, what about when I was there for 3 years? And you've been giving Canelo all his decision, he could do whatever the he wants, so I feel like it's a little bit unfair.
Anyway, having said all that, the ultimate soundbite that made people believe the great Canelo really is ducking was this one.
But if one promoter who I work to, they come and say, I offer to you 150 to 200 million, I fight tomorrow.
So yeah, 200 million, right, oh bruv, fucking hell, wind your big old ginger neck in. I've heard some other muppet say something like that before.
I probably want $500 million to come out of retirement.
You're getting a bit bloody carried away with yourself now.
Yes, there he is, Mr. Oh, it was too easy, I was having too much fun. Yes, Canelo's just joined the Tyson Fury Waffle and Bollocks Club, but you know what? It might be a little bit genius, to be fair. Hear me out. Now, we all slated Fury for pricing himself out of the Usyk fight a year prior, but then in the end, what happened? He ended up getting absolutely weighed in because he waited for the best deal to come along. Basically, old Turkey come along. So yes, I suppose you got to give him his credit for this in a business sense, but then again, I've got to be honest, if Turkey hadn't come along, I don't reckon Fury would have ever taken the Usyk fight in the UK, because he could have earned similar money fighting someone else a lot shitter. Guarantee it would have been Manuel Char at Tottenham, probably fucking buzzing. However, luckily for him, Saudi came into the picture and gave him not quite the 500 million he wanted, but enough for him to step in the ring. Now back to Canelo, and he's probably doing the same thing. He knows full well Turkey and the whole world are interested in the Benavidez fight, and he knows they've got the dollar, so maybe he's making demands that can't be met like Fury in the hope they'll eventually meet him in the middle, say around 100 mil. That'll probably entice him to take the fight. In a nutshell, he may just be playing the game, who knows. However, the only problem is the ship may have sailed at super middle if Benavidez ain't coming back down. Will Canelo go up to light heavy? I don't know, but I suppose if the money is right, he probably will. So after he beats Berlanga, we shall see. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Crawford, by the way. Will that fight happen after this? I don't know, I don't see the point of it myself. He's too small, old Terence. I think he'll get walloped and Canelo will do what Bivol did to him. Then don't forget about David Morrell Jr., but again, if Canelo's got a problem with the profile of Benavidez, he ain't gonna fight Morrell, who's got even less of a profile and who happens to be seriously good. So there we are. Yes, he's clearly been a bit cautious lately, old Canelo, and I do think the stick has been quite justified, to be honest. Assuming everyone keeps winning, if he were to retire without fighting Benavidez, we will all say, wow, what a career, but that cloud will always be hanging over him. And it's just unexpected from the man we thought we knew. Let me know your thoughts and I'll see you when you're older.